Welcome back, everybody. I've got a fun one for you. We're going to get wicked. More specifically, I had a special request from a long-time viewer who asked if I could show her how to turn an image of someone dressed up like a witch into the green-skinned misfit from the 2024 hit movie. Let me show you how I did it in Affinity Photo 2. I used a couple images I generated from Leonardo.AI for this tutorial. The first is this lovely woman dressed up in a black witch's outfit. I'll leave a link in the description. I started by clicking on Command or Control J to duplicate the layer. Then, I used the selection brush tool in the left-hand toolbar to select everywhere that I could see her skin, including under the lace of her dress, her chest, and her face. You can click the left square bracket key a few times to make your brush head smaller to get in the tiny areas. Or click the right square bracket key to make your brush bigger. Then, I clicked on the Layer Mask button at the bottom of the Layers panel. This isolated the area for me to work on first. I clicked on Command or Control D to deselect the area, and then, with the top layer selected, I clicked on the Adjustments button at the bottom of the Layers panel and selected HSL Adjustment. I moved each of the sliders a little bit until I found the right shade of green for my little witch here. Then, I closed out of the panel and click-dragged the adjustment layer onto the witch cutout so it only affected the areas with skin. Note that the black areas aren't really affected, so those lacy shoulders look perfect. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is to select black as my color and then click my paintbrush tool on the left-hand toolbar. Then I'll select a soft round brush from the basic category in the paintbrush panel next to the layers panel. Painting black on a white mask removes pixels from that layer. So I'm going to go over her eyes and teeth a bit to see if I can remove any green and/or pick up bits of color from the layer underneath. Alright, that looks good. Now, her lips look a little bit purple after the Recolor adjustment. So I'll isolate them and try again. I'll go to my selection brush tool and paint over the lips, and then click and hold the Option or Alt key to remove the selection over the teeth. I'll click Command or Control C to copy the selection, and then Command or Control V to paste it into a new layer above the green layer. The mask will copy and paste with the lips. Then, I'll go back to the Adjustments button at the bottom of the Layers panel and I'll click Recolor, and I'll move the sliders around until I get a nice shade of shiny green lipstick. I'll click Command or Control D to deselect. Alright, I think my witch is looking pretty good. It's time to remove her from this boring background and add something more interesting. The first thing I want to do is to select all the layers. Then right-click on them, scroll down, and then select Merge Visible. That gives me a new merged layer without destroying the others. Then, I'll select that new top layer and go to my selection brush tool in the left-hand toolbar, and I'll paint over her to select her. Once I have her totally selected, I'll click my left square bracket key a few times to make my brush head smaller and hold the Option or Alt key, and I'll paint over these small areas in her hair to deselect them. Next, I'll click the Refine tool in the top toolbar. I can tell right away that the selection is very good, so I'll just go down to the Output drop-down, select New Layer with Mask, and then click Apply to put my witch cutout into a new layer at the top. Then, I'll go to the Layers panel and turn off all of these other layers so you can only see my pretty green lady here. Alright, now I generated another image from Leonardo.AI to use as a background. To add it to my canvas, I'll select File in the menu and then Place. Then, I'll select the file I want and drag it out onto my screen. I was really happy with the Emerald City and Yellow-Green Road that Leonardo made for me. What better to go with the Green Witch? Speaking of which, she's kind of blocking the view. So, I'll use the arrow-shaped Move tool in the top left corner to move her to the left a bit. Alright, one last thing and I'll let you go. I want to add a little depth to the background by blurring the Emerald City and other distant features a bit. But I noticed that this is an image layer by the icon to the left of the layer. So first, I need to right-click on the layer and scroll down to rasterize to change it to a pixel layer. Okay, I'll hide my witch for a second by clicking the button to the right of her layer, and then I'll use my selection brush tool to paint over the foreground of the image. Once I have the front part selected, I'll click Command or Control J to duplicate just that section of the background into a new layer just below the witch layer. Then, I'll select the original background layer with the Emerald City still on it, and I'll go to my Live Filters button at the bottom of the Layers panel. I'll select Gaussian Blur and raise the slider up a bit to blur the distant parts of the whole image. Alright, that's about it for today. If you learned something and want to see more of this kind of content, please click those like and subscribe buttons. And if you're feeling generous, this channel runs on caffeine. There's a link to buy me a cup of coffee in the descriptions. Not necessary, but certainly appreciated. Have a great day, everyone.